To Exposition. Wait a minute.
Yes.
Where are we?
Exposition. And
That doesn't look very good. Okay. We're being silly. All right. Today we are talking about stained glass. And we have an artist here today that's going to show us a little bit of the process of making stained glass. From beginning to end, cutting all the glass up and hopefully not severing arteries or anything else.
horrifying.
Keeping the Band-Aids.
Yes, yes. First aid kit nearby.
Okay.
And it's
So who do we have today?
we have Tracy French Polcyn, one of our beloved artisans. We love her. She's amazing and multi-talented, we'll find out during the show.
Everything all right? Okay. So we have this is the first week after we've graduated here at the college, and so we don't have a lot of people behind the scenes.
Yes.
We have Kelsey.
We have Kelsey, our
In the back.
assistant technical situation person.
Anyway, so Tracy's here talking about stained glass.
Hello.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit
Thank
about
you
yourself.
for being here.
Where are you from and all that kind of stuff.
I'm from Oak Hill. I'm a teacher. Actually, my full-time job is teaching at Buckeye Hills. I teach math and English. I've been there for 15 years, and I've really enjoyed it. But, you know, sometimes you want to do a little bit more, something different, and stained glass really suited me very well. So that's why I started teaching the glass.
Have you done other type of crafts before this?
Yeah, a little bit here and there. There's a lot of artistry and musical in my family, so I try things here and there, but really glass suits me best.
Why were you attracted to stained glass?
Well, I really see a lot of stained glass in architecture and that sort of thing, and so it was a very classical thing to me. I think it's a thing of beauty. You can see it, of course, you know, you view it from the outside, you view it from the inside, but it's something that really you can just connect with, because it kind of becomes a part of you, and you don't just see it, but you kind of absorb that. And I really like that, and I really also like, you know, that it's one of those things that historically we can connect to and really, you know, have that relationship with.
I agree. I always just, when I see stained glass anywhere, I'm in love with it. It's
Yes.
just so beautiful, and the way it's combined with the different colors, and it's just beautiful in so many different ways. You know, it can be just something that's hanging in a window. It can be the window. It can be part of the structure, the architectural structure. It's just amazing. When did you start getting into?
A couple of years ago, I started. My parents actually bought me a kit for Christmas, and that's how I started. But I had wanted to do it for a while, and really it was just a thing of courage for me, because, you know, you think you want to do something and you get ready to do it, and I didn't have any training. So it was something that I just kind of jumped into. I read a little, I watched a little, I hoped a little, and it came down to, okay, it was time to do it. I said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to score this piece, do my line. I had my breakers there, and that piece sat for a week because I was afraid to break the glass. So I'd made it all the way up to the point. I knew what I was going to do, had my pattern out, had things drawn out, had no idea, you know, really how to save glass or anything like that.
Yes.
So, and I was ready to break it, and I thought, oh, I just don't think I could do it. It sat for a week before I could ever
Were you
break
afraid it
glass.
would just shatter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Did it?
No, it just broke on the line that I cut.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was great after that. I was good, but that first piece just sat there, and it just stared at me for a good solid week, just intimidating me, and
I
Taunting you,
understand.
making fun of you.
You
Yes,
don't
it
want to
was.
make a mistake, and you
No.
don't want to ruin the project,
you don't want
to
to get glass everywhere, and, you know, children in the house and pets in the house and myself in the house, and this glass everywhere is just not a good scenario. So it just stayed for a week.
Yes,
So what-
I'm so
okay.
glad you went on.
I think straight lines would be easy.
Yes.
Just bam. But if you had to make like an S curve,
That takes time.
Is there heat involved or anything like that?
Do you have
There's
to
no
just
heat.
tap it
You just
out, or-
little bits, and really you do just kind of the way I do it.
Do you
Now,
take
there are
pieces
saws
off
out
at a
there.
time?
But yeah, you take little pieces off at a time. So you get your general curves and you cut along those edges of your extremes, and then you kind of just start getting those little dips out. So if you're doing that, you got little dips here. If you're going on the other side, you got little dips there. And you really hope that one of those little dips doesn't have a little bit of a fracture in the glass somewhere, because you click down or you really, if you're doing a curve, it's more of a, you do this line and then you do some lines that are not as curved inside, and you're almost pulling and breaking as you do it. So it's not like with the regular line, you've got your breakers, and your breakers are kind of set with this little bar in the middle, so you just kind of snap. But these, you almost kind of have to pull those little bits out, and you have to,
along the way.
Yeah, and
so it's not just like a full piece. It's
right, and no glasses like us, none of it is perfect. So you have a little bubble here, a little crack there, or a little scratch that you didn't see, or in the streaky glass you might have, little extra grains or lines in it, and occasionally it does its own thing. So, you have to be willing to either redo the piece as many times as it takes, or you have to be willing to get close to those waves, and then I use a grinder maybe sometimes to get on in there, and then you're remarking the lines and stuff, because the grinder has to have water in it. So you kind of, it loses a little bit here and there. Or you have to, be willing to say, well, my pattern is not that now. It has another line in it, so I'm just gonna,
Do you adapt to the
Yes.
So you can either
pattern?
go
Yeah.
with it.
So
or-
it's always really good to have your own pattern, because then you're not messing up anybody else's.
Yes.
So because I do use some patterns from books, or I'll buy one online, or that sort of thing. Sometimes, but it's nice to have your own sometimes, to say, well, that's the way it looks.
Yes.
That's how it's supposed to be, and nobody ever knows.
So you don't have
It
to
wasn't.
trash it. Exactly. 'Cause
Exactly.
only you know.
Right, because glasses, you buy the glass in sheets, and you think, well, I need a sheet for this and a sheet for that, and you get everything in advance so you can sit down and do it as you want to do it, and sometimes you don't have enough sheets if you're trying to be too perfect with it.
Is it a special kind of glass that you? I mean, can you just take anything and you say, that's a neat piece of glass, I want to make something out of that?
Like if
And
you
then-
went to the flea market and
Yeah,
gathered
like,
up a bunch of
oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Well,
I
the
love
glasses
that.
have different thicknesses.
Okay.
I mean, you can do that, but you could do it a lot more easily if you did a copper foil project than if you were doing one with cane, because cane has certain grooves in the sides, and so there's a different thickness for your different canes, so you have to be kind of careful of that. I mean,
What does that word mean?
Is it CAME?
CAME.
Okay.
It's the lead cane. It's the lead lines that you see through the glass a lot of the time.
Okay.
Some of them, and we have some pictures of them. Whenever you get to the orange quilt block, you'll see that it's already preformed, and you just kind of slide those pieces of glass in, and you tack them, and then you slide another piece of glass into the grooves and you tack it, rather than doing the copper foil around the edge and then applying solder
Yes.
on top of that.
Is that how they did like church windows with the copper and the solder and stuff?
with the cane?
With
Oh,
It,
they used
came
that.
a lot more, and early on they actually did the thicker discs, and they did those with like a cement grout sort of a thing. So that's why you really notice those lines a lot, I think.
Okay.
So even though you're not supposed to notice the lines. So.
I've like actually painted a stained glass image before, and I was wondering, there were lines that
Well,
I
did it
didn't
start
think
out all
belonged
clear?
in there. It's a blank canvas, like.
You're not painting
Well, you'd have to
glass. You're
sketch.
painting
No,
picture
no,
of.
yes, picture of.
Picture of
Yeah,
the glass. Okay.
it was my interpretation of stained glass on a canvas.
Okay.
And there were the lines. I thought, why is that? Why are those lines
Well,
there?
and then
I
there are
said,
the
had to have been
lines-
probably structural, right?
Well, and it's
Because if
really
it's-
interesting that something broken is stronger than something that's
Yes,
You
because
know,
there's
but
more
it-
structure in it.
yeah. But when
Yes.
you get to the pieces that are like 2 by 2s, say
Yes.
something like that, then you actually apply some bars to solidify it. So you just kind of tack those, and those go into the little solder points here or there, or onto the cane. And so you just attach those, or more commonly, and I'm not so good at the more way it probably should be, but those brace bars will bend, but you got to have something to bend them, and I do not have anything to bend them other than
Yes.
So you're bending right to go along with some of these, so that your piece doesn't ever sag, and it stays really nice and structurally sound, because whenever you're looking at a huge thing like a window, and it takes all the impacts of everything, you got to have
wind like we had last night.
Yes.
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh.
You'll see those little bars in the back, and you'll know they're not really part of the picture,
Right.
but you don't know what they are. Or I didn't used to know what they were. Whenever I would look at it, every now and then you would notice this little vague bar running here, or one running there, or there, and
Yes.
that's what those are. It's just for
Okay, to
structure, just for a little bit of
stabilize
strength.
it. Yeah.
So when you began, what was your percentage of success?
Well, 100%.
Yeah.
Because nobody knew what it was going to look like.
See.
So everything's
just wondering
100%. No,
if people were
in the
scared to get
beginning,
into it, do they think they're going to screw up like 5 pieces?
they probably will if they're just getting into it. I mean, really, even with somebody telling you, put this piece here, cut this piece like this, your glass doesn't always break the way you think. And so you have to be willing. Glass is something that you're either going to be 100% precise on, and it's going to take you a long time to complete a piece. And it does sometimes take a long time to complete a piece, especially if it's something that is really to your heart. Or you're going to have to be willing to say, I wanted this petal to be one petal with all the frills on the edge.
Yes.
Now it's 2. And you got to be okay with that sometimes. I mean, it's up to you, but sometimes it's not your choice so much as it is the glass's choice. And you just have to, or I have to now. There are probably some people who could say, that's crazy. She should just keep practicing. And you should, but I really think,
Or it's a happy accident.
happy accidents. I when I started on quilt pieces, those were my first camed pieces. Everything before that was copper, foil and solder, and I thought, oh, I've got this down. And I said, well, I'm going to work with came, because actually my father kept mentioning came. When are you going to start working with the came? When are you going to start doing, and I kept thinking, well, I'm kind of scared because I don't know how to do that, but I didn't want to say that, but now there it is. And so I said, well, I'm going to do a quilt piece, because they were straight pieces.
Yeah.
I thought I'll do the Ohio Star, and that will be great. And I probably should have started with something like a little log cabin, because, fewer pieces. And what I didn't realize on my first piece is that, and I guess I knew this, but I didn't think about it, is came has a thickness to it. So whenever you cut all your pieces, they're going to be offset by this
That
much.
much, yes.
So whenever you start over here and you put your outside pieces in and you slot these pieces in, everything's going to look really good. And it's all going to line up, because really it's not lining up against anything, right?
Right.
So the next pieces over are going to set in a little bit.
Especially
and you
if
may
there's
not
angles.
notice, yes.
Right.
And so extra pieces along the way and that sort of thing you have to account for. And one way to
Yes.
get around that, of course, is to mark your lines more solidly so that you see exactly the piece you need to cut. And that's the way you get around that. But rather than sitting and trying to do the math to, it's just make your lines more solid. But, as I went across, I thought, oh, this is fantastic. And I used a Van Gogh glass, so it had some real pretty qualities to it. And you hold it up to the light and you just see gray and pattern. And I thought, oh, I love this. I was so excited. I'm going across, and all of a sudden, nothing matched up. It was like, shh, 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 shh. And that piece still sits in my house, because that's the only place it can go. That's where my mistakes reside. But I thought, oh gosh, and I left it there. And I thought, okay, that's fine. And so my second piece I did a little better on, because my lines were better, and I thought, well, okay, I'll get out here and I'll do this and I'll do that, and it'll offset and everything will be fine. And it was still off a little bit. And that's where I said, okay, I just got to walk away for a while. I came back, And I said, okay, I can either let this be my second mistake, and I don't have a lot of stained glass in my house. I love stained glass, but I have certain pieces in certain places, that's what will go there and that will be it. So, you know, and I haven't made it there yet because I just can't decide for sure on certain things. But I thought I can't have 2 quilt blocks in my house. That doesn't make sense for me. And so, okay, I left it and I came back and I said, okay, I'm just going to take the pliers and rip this all apart.
Oh my gosh.
And so it, you know, I thought, well, I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You know, I'm already in error. So I learned that it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. So if somebody's starting, it's not that bad. Just take it apart and do it again. Whether it's cane or it's copper foil, you're good. Just tear it apart.
Do you lose a lot of money doing that? Or no?
Yeah, so that's why you want to start learning to tear it apart. Yes. and you know,
Instead
you don't
of just
have,
trashing it, the whole thing.
Yes, unless you have an actual studio, which I do not have an actual, you know,
Dedicated room
full
or something.
space for myself. Right. I have this closet that I use, and I have a room that I use, and that's fine, but that's not a full-time spot. But unless you have that, you don't have a place maybe to stock inventory. So if you have a piece of glass that you really like and you really want to use, you learn that if you cut it wrong, you go back and you fix that, because, you know,
It's worth it.
it is
It's
worth
worth
it.
the
And
extra
glass is hard to
time.
get in our area for sure. You know, and shipping is just about as much as the glass.
Yeah. Let's take, because glass is real light. Let's take a look at some pictures that
Sorry.
kind of go over the process. Okay, this is a design, right?
Right.
And that is that design coming to life. And this is done with copper and... Okay.
It's done with the copper foil.
Oh, we need some water.
We're good. Yeah, this is all copper foil.
Okay, so let's go forward to... Is that the finished project? Okay.
Yep.
This is...
That's
Is that
a
the
cane
Ohio
and copper
Star?
foil.
No, okay.
Nope, just a star. This is actually a class that we're going to be holding.
Okay, so the next class that's coming up, was it the May 15th?
That's going to be May
Yes.
15th at 1 o'clock. And it's $60, and that'll be at the Artisan Studio downtown Gallipolis.
So that covers the cost of materials and everything. How
And
long?
that's everything.
How long would it take for them to do that? And are they breaking the glass?
They are breaking the glass themselves. They're going to be cutting their own cane. The cane will go on the inside and the outside.
Okay.
And it's going to take probably 3.5 hours
Okay.
start to finish.
Okay. So what's this? This looks like a quilt block. Or
This
something?
is the Ohio Star, yeah.
Okay.
And this is a full cane piece. There's no copper foil in this one.
Okay.
But those break lines are what will throw you off. If you look right here, that's where we start soldering together. After we get everything put into place, we start to solder the joints together so that nothing can move. That's the finished piece.
That's beautiful. Oh my.
Now, would the texture on that clear glass affect your cutting or not?
No, there's a smooth side to the glass and
Okay.
a textured side.
Oh,
So
wait,
you always mark on the smooth side.
All right. Now, is this making a pattern?
This is for a candle holder.
Okay.
And notice how dark the lines are for the in-betweens, and that will give me a spot to, have a little bit of play.
So you measure to the line, you don't measure to the center of
That's
the line.
exactly right.
Okay.
Because that line is taking up the space for the lead.
For the, yes, whichever
Is it
way
made
you
of
get your
lead?
lead. Yes.
Okay.
The one I use. They do have some lead-free solders. I use a 60-40 tin lead, or 10 lead.
Okay. So
And this is actually a copper foil project.
And that's on a backlit box,
Yes.
right? Light
Yeah,
box or whatever.
because that's really hard to see through. You need a light shining through on the bottom side, and you put your pattern on it. Then you put your glass on top. There it is.
Okay.
So you mark the glass with the pattern behind it.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess if you didn't have a light box, you hold it up to your own window.
You can. I've tried that before. It's a little bit difficult. I actually, when I started, I didn't have a light box, so I used a couple cinder blocks and a flashlight. So if you want to do it yourself at home and you don't have a light box, then you're still good.
Okay, this is
Where you score the glass.
that like one of those little rolly wheel things?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it is. So the blade just puts a little scratch in the glass, and then you go through with breaking pliers or grozers, and or some people call them running pliers, and you get right there on that scratch mark, and it just breaks it right apart. Just
You
pop,
can't
pop,
do it
pop.
with like a karate chop or anything?
Yeah, you could, but it's going to be really hard to fit it into pattern. So,
Mike.
so here's the copper foiling, because this is a copper foil project, and copper foil really lends itself to projects where you have a lot of curves, you have a lot of small pieces, a lot of detailed pieces, as opposed to those bigger, nice chunks that you might have, or smoother curves.
To me, that seems more appealing. That's the way I'd want to do it. But
The copper foil?
Yeah. Is that slower than the
No.
cane? No.
Not really. I
Okay.
mean, with the cane, I don't know, copper foiling, once you copper foil a piece, you really kind of just fly through it. You know, it doesn't take that much time.
And you cover up all the copper with the
Yes.
solder.
Yeah, my younger daughter says that's the saddest part of it. She thinks it looks a lot better with the copper foil than it does with the...
Can you use other things other than solder? Or is it all soldered?
They do sell different things. I've never used anything but solder.
And you use an iron or a flame?
I use an iron.
Can you
Yeah.
use a flame?
I've never known anybody to.
Okay.
Wild man.
Well, I wasn't sure if you use a torch or something, possibly.
Well,
Oh, no.
you would want it to be.
It might break the glass.
It could. Yeah, you don't want it to get too hot. And this is, of course, putting it all
That's the
together.
finished product.
Oh, nice.
That's nice.
Oh.
I like the way that one little piece sticks up. It's not
Yeah.
just a box.
Yeah.
So that's the next thing you'll teach.
Right, that's the
at
class after the start.
This is this June?
It should be. We'll fit it in June.
Somewhere in June.
Somewhere in June.
So is that a candle that goes in it, or is that
Yeah.
a light bulb?
It's a candle.
Okay.
It's a glass bottom.
Those are so
And
beautiful.
These are other things that you've done in the past.
Yes, those were some of my first things.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yep. The leaves were little night lights.
Amazing. So pretty.
That has a crystal in it, a quartz crystal. And that's another thing that is really nice about using the copper foil, is that you can actually incorporate other things, into your
That
pieces.
are not as flat as glass or
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah, and I like the crystals in things.
Oh, sure. We've got that.
Did
at
you buy
studio.
Yes.
like a window
That was my grandmother's.
Oh,
and then you just
Came
replace
from
the
her
glass?
house. Mm-hmm. Yep,
So you can repurpose some things that way.
yep.
that's so amazing.
What's that called? Is that a Celtic thing?
Oh yeah. Oh
Celtic,
yeah.
Celtic Trinity, Celtic knot.
Okay. It looks like a
That's
water
from
lily.
a pattern.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's from a pattern that
It's
that I acquired.
froggy.
And you probably have to pay attention to the way that the glass
That's
has
yours.
the.
It's mine.
Do you have that?
Yes,
She
I got
does.
it for my birthday.
Okay, cool.
Yes, my beautiful, amazing family.
Mother of
got it.
dragons.
Yes, I'm the mother of dragons. Yes.
That's some of that Van Gogh glass. How it
The
has all
dragon
that,
or-
the color, yeah, and the dragon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I love
And you notice whenever the light comes through it, you see more of the gray, and it looks more of like a scale than what it does anything else.
Oh, it's perfect.
This is Came. That's a Came project, but there's a little bit of copper foil in it because it has a few crystals in it also.
Have you done commission pieces, like if somebody wanted a full window in their house?
Yes.
Yeah?
I haven't done an actual window that takes the elements though.
Oh, okay.
They
So-
put them inside, and then I have one. This one actually is outside, and it sits in memorial.
So I guess you could figure out how to get like a window where it's double pane, and you could do the inside pane, and have an outside pane. You just couldn't seal it like you do.
Well, there are actually people in the area that can do that. They can put the gas in for you. I
Really?
know there's a place in Jackson that will actually do that as long as you can get your joints actually sealed. You know, and you do the grouting and that sort of thing. You could actually use the, it's not grout, but the glazing.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Wow, how wonderful.
All right. Well, thanks for
Yay.
coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Thank
pretty
you.
interesting.
It is so cool. It's beautiful and amazing. And her stained glass class, the 15th of May. And we have other things upcoming in the studio. Every single weekend at 11 o'clock, we have a bar workout class that's yoga
That's
and
not
Pilates.
a bar like.
With an extra
No,
RE.
Mike. No, Mike.
We can do the bar workout.
Mike. And
So
then-
this is like
where
the
you
ballet dancing
ballet, Pilates, and yoga all mixed together.
Okay.
And that's 11 to 12 on every single Saturday. And then we have the Fiber Guild meeting. That's from 12 to 4. That's for Fiber Guild members. But then they have a meet and greet for the public from 2 to 4 on the 21st. That's Saturday, the 21st of May. And we have Tracy's Wilton cake decorating class starting a 4-class series for course 1. Starts on the 28th of May, and that is at 12:30. And 4 classes is $60.
So
And-
what do you do in class 1, 2, and 3, 4?
Well, we learn to do our cakes, our icing our cakes, and then we work with buttercream flowers. We work with royal flowers. So we're doing roses, we're doing sunflowers, things like that. Just basic things, leaves, ivy.
Okay. So you're not doing what's that stuff that you make?
Fondant. Fondant?
Right.
That would be courses 2 and 3.
Okay.
Cool.
Fondant and gum paste.
Okay.
And that's going to be an ongoing thing. That's course 1, that's course 2, and we'll have, there's 4 courses, I think. 3 courses that include the classes. And a basket weaving class, May 23rd, and check out our calendar on the
Search for
Search for-
Artisan Market
Artisan,
or Artisan Shop on
Gallia
Facebook.
County Artisan Market and the Artisan Shop and Studio on Facebook.
So check that out on Facebook and come down, check out all the artisans' wares in the shop, and come back next month. Watch us here. Do we know who we're having on next time?
Next month? Not yet.
Okay.
But yeah.
It'll be a
cool.
surprise.
Yes.
So
Surprise
tune in
guest.
next month, the second Wednesday at 2 o'clock.
Yes.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.